I don't know if this is going to work. I don't have a good mount for the camera. Just a quick little view of one of the mini wharves that we have here with our fishing fleet. I won't eat seafood because of these boats. These guys, they go out. These are boats from Louisiana. They're shrimping boats, actually. And they retrofit them for catching fish in the North Atlantic. And they run with locomotive engines. So A, they don't use an efficient propulsion source, so they're not green in that regard. And they're giant iron rusting hulks, the outside of which is painted with lead-filled paint, because it keeps the barnacles off. They're already inefficient to move through the water. Add a few barnacles, you make it much worse. And then a lot of times they're staffed with people with questionable immunization records. I'm going careful so as not to knock the camera over. That was a hole. And then, on top of that, the front hold is filled with ice, and they just throw the fish down in there. And of course, you know, the fish freezes up. But it's only ice, so the fish are only like at 32 degrees, so they're in a state of slush. So they're dead, and they're desiccating for 10 days. So the fish at the bottom of the hold are older than the fish at the top of the hold. And they come steaming back in with their arms down. It's actually pretty to look at. And they come up to the fish house, and there's a bid, and they decide how much they're going to pay for the fish, or the shrimp, or the scallops, or whatever. Not shrimp, but scallops, or whatever the fish of the day was. And then it goes to the fish houses. Once it gets in the fish houses, again, you got your fish being handled by people with questionable immunization records. Generally in a relatively sterile environment, as best as you can get, and stainless steel and concrete. And the fish goes through a filleting process and soaked in an osmotic solution to actually swell the water content, so that, you know, if you're paying $2 a pound, you're actually buying 3/4 of a pound of fish, because 25% of it is water that's just going to boil off when you add heat. But the USDA thinks this is a good thing as a preservative, or some nonsense like that. In Plymouth, you can go to Plymouth, and they have these small guys. You can buy the fish right off their boats. They go out in the morning, they catch whatever, and then they sell it off the boat. So they'll sit there and shuck the scallops for you right out of the shell and sell them to you. They're like 20 bucks a pound. Isn't cheap. If you like scallops, it's one way to do it. If you don't like scallops, save yourself the money and just watch. See that building on the left? There used to be something like that down on one of the other piers. Myself and a bunch of other people made a stinking 3/4 because it was an absolute mess. So their response was to tear the other one down and to build that relatively secure garbage bin. So that's an improvement. It just shows you that a few people with big mouths and a video camera can wreck the day of any well-meaning politician. Oh well, that's enough for today.